to my channel, everyone, and in this video I'm going to share with you exactly how I scaled myself from 50k all the way up to 220k within 5 short years, and then I was able to exit my 9 to 5. So in the first video I walked through the story of how I actually landed a job with a category king within my niche or my sector, which is marketing or digital marketing to be specific. So as you all know, I come from a sales background and I worked under the King Kong brand or the King Kong agency with Sabri Subi. And this is really where the work begins. Once you've landed the job, what are you going to do to actually keep this role and to keep improving better and better? Or are you going to get comfortable? Or are you going to keep becoming a salesperson for many, many years and then you become stagnant? So what's your actual plan to exit? Or do you even want to exit? Or do you want to stay within the company? These are the sorts of questions that you want to work on in year one, and you want to work on them intentionally. And this is the story of how I actually scaled myself within a sales role of any given business. And within 5 short years, I was able to go from an AE or a sales rep. And then towards the end, I was actually a head of sales manager for 2 separate companies. And then I was able to exit my 9 to 5. And here I am today telling you the story. And the reason why I believe this story is so important is because there's just not enough people who share their success stories within a 9 to 5 environment, and then they go on to transfer these skills over to their business. What you see these days is that there's a lot of stories out there where they talk about, quitting their entire life or just starting a business with $200. That is for a specific type of personality, and that's great. But maybe that's not you, and you want to know, okay, what are the alternatives out there, and what are some case studies, and where can I find this person to learn from them? So let's suppose that you start your first year in sales. What are the things that you can do today to actually make sure that in 5 years or 6 years or 3 years, that's your exit timeline? So you want to know this very specifically, and then at least you can reverse engineer this. So step number 1 is to be extremely intentional in regards to what it is that you want to achieve within your stint in the 9 to 5 world. Do you want to develop skills? Do you want to develop relationships? What kind of skills do you want to do? What kind of accounts do you want to do? What kind of services or products do you want to do? And most importantly, what are the services or products that you deeply believe in so that you can actually sell that? And what are the clients that you like to work with? Is it SMB? Is it commercial? Is it enterprise? Nothing wrong with starting with smaller transactional deals and then moving your way up. That's exactly what I did. And there's also nothing wrong with wanting to scale fast as well. Because in this current generation, why would anybody want to work longer than they need to when they can just grab the skills and then exit and then start their own thing? At least if you start younger, you can have a lot more time to play with and a lot more time to actually make mistakes like I am now. I can make mistakes for a long time and I don't have to worry about it because I've paid my price already when I did my 9 to 5. Besides from sales and marketing, there's a whole bunch of other skills that you actually need to work on within this short amount of time, within this short amount of years, so that when you come into the business, it's not such a jarring effect. It's not such a shock to the system. And these are the stories that I wanted to cover on my channel, so stick around. Step number 1 is I would recommend for you to be very intentional in regards to your planning cycles. Once you've signed that agreement with you and your employer, this is where the magic begins. Now you want to have a look at, okay, can I master this product and service very well? And what is my realistic time frame in regards to landing my first deal? If you think you can land your first deal within the first 3 months, this is a very healthy cycle. So we talk about sales health as well. If the longer that it takes for you to actually land your first deal, the more it's going to hurt your confidence. So how much time and how much energy are you willing to put into that first 90 days? Do you even have a training schedule put aside to make sure that you and your manager work together to make sure that you can take on that first 1 or 2 deals down? And it doesn't matter how small the deal is either, as long as you get it through. That's the most important thing. So step number 1 is have a very intentional plan with any given role to make sure that you've got a cadence to actually getting the deals. And that means you might have to sit with your sales manager on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a quarterly basis. Maybe even twice a day you need to sit with them for the first 90 days. For example, when I was working at King Kong, I sat directly right next to my manager, like literally right here. And I could turn my head and I could speak to them at will. And it's because I asked him, can I sit with you in the first 90 days or even ongoing? Can you make space for me to sit right next to you so that I have a greater success to win or I have a greater chance to win? And he said yes. And to this day, I'm going to be so grateful for this. Plan out your years. And at the end of the year, also make sure, are you going to be ready for the next year? So for me, I knew that I always wanted to work for 5 strong years, because 5 strong years could mean 7 years for a normal person or 10 years for a normal person with how hard you attack this. And then I want to enter into management because I want to learn how to run a team. It's not really about the money, because I know that if I have the skills, I'm going to be able to get the money. The money is a byproduct of your skill set. So not only am I going to be able to do deals for myself, SMB, commercial, enterprise, I want to be able to help my team eat as well. No point you knowing how to do the deals and everybody is suffering on your team. To me, that's not a good manager. And in the new generation, I believe that the best manager will be the one that helps lift everybody up. If you can help everybody up, you're going to be eating as well. Step number 2, work for an outbound company as well. Of course, learn how to do inbound sales. If you lack confidence, I would highly recommend to do inbound sales at the very beginning so that at least you know you've got the repetition to actually go and hunt for those deals. But at a certain stage, once you've gotten the confidence there, I would highly recommend that in year 2 to apply for an outbound sales company in the specific service or the product that you wanted to sell for. In year 1, I was working for King Kong, and this was a dream come true, but I knew at a certain stage that I needed to go and sell outbound. And in year 2 to year 3, I went to sell for government technology or government SaaS or government software. For those who are not aware of these terminologies, you might be new to sales. And at this point, I had to go and prospect large deals, completely outbound, cold calls, cold emails, and this was a separate skill. So once I have the inbound, then I have the outbound, and then you can work multiple different cycles as well in regards to deal sizes. As you know, marketing deals are a little bit on the small side, but when it comes to software deals are actually quite large. And it also trains you to actually have patience to take that deal down. Who is the right decision maker that you want to speak to? Do you have a plan to follow them up? And how big are the deals that you ideally would like to take down? For me, I understood that for me to actually make some real money in this business, I need to cut my teeth on larger deals. So for example, in role number 2, my deal size was 300K. And that's quite a sizable jump from digital marketing. Digital marketing can go anywhere between the thousands to tens of thousands, for example. But in government SaaS, it's massive deals. You're selling anywhere between 300K to 600K onwards. And for those who are watching, if you ever get a chance to sell for government, that is probably one of the best skills because it teaches you how to find the most hidden decision maker, how to work the procurement as well, and how to work POCs, proof of concept. And these are the things I can talk to you about later on in another video. So in year 3 and year 4, I worked for another SaaS company. And in this case, it was a reseller for Zoom. And I wanted to understand what a complete scale up US tech was going to be like, how they laid out their teams, how they ran their deals, how to actually close that deal. And again, I would classify this as a category king as well, because everybody in the entire world knows Zoom. Everybody has an account, whether it's paid or not paid. They understand what that brand is. However, once you've got the brand recognition, it does not guarantee you an instant win. You've still got to work that account. And it was at this role that I was able to go across multiple different deal sizes between SMB, commercial, enterprise, and majors. I was able to completely learn this entire cycle and understand who it is that I like to work with. So for me, I like to work larger deals. Larger deals, more risk, more reward, more commissions. So I would highly recommend to get out of SMB as fast as you can, unless you absolutely love it and you're killing it. And then to try to escalate up the chain so that for nothing else, you learn how the teams work, you learn how the commissions work, and you learn why that business is successful the way that it is. Now, in my 4th year and also my 5th year, this was my first taste at being a manager. So head of sales for a startup SaaS now. Previously, I had learned how to sell for a US tech, which is already scaled up and everybody knows this brand called Zoom. but I wanted to work for a startup SaaS company to find out if that company didn't have a name that everybody recognized, and now I'm starting back at zero again. How would I build this team, and how would I help my salespeople or sales reps to actually improve their game? Because once you've gotten yourself to a certain stage, you want to help others to rise up now. I believe this is what our generation is dying for, actually. And in this case, I learned how to actually manage a team offshore and also onshore at the same time. And at this case, in this scenario, I actually got a chance to move overseas and work for a period of time in Saudi Arabia. And in Saudi Arabia, I learned how to actually live in a different country, how to work a different country, how to manage my time zones. I was working across 3 different time zones, selling into Canada, also having to go back to Australian time zones, and then working offshore time zones as well. So 3 separate time zones that I had to manage with staff there, and also actively selling at the same time. And I know that this is a very fast-paced timeline that I've just disclosed, but I believe that this is completely replicable, and it's in your duty, in your best interest, and it's also in your responsibility to make sure that you don't need to work longer than you need to in a 9 to 5 if the business calls you. For me, I always knew that I was going to start something on my own, but not after I've learnt the skills, and also not after I've had a long enough time period spent across multiple different channels, multiple different industries, will you actually gain enough experience, been burnt enough times, understand how to do prospecting, sales, follow-up, long follow-up, large deals, small deals, how to work with other people, how to build a team, how to actually listen to a CEO, how to listen to a founder as well, and to actually take their vision and grow that into reality. Only after this was I comfortable and actually, quite honestly, confident to go out on my own. So that's all for this video. Like and subscribe, and in the next video I'm going to share with you more details in regards to how to actually get a 6-figure role and how to sustain it as well.